Hey, what's up? John McBrayer here. I'm going to talk today, just do a little walkthrough demonstration about how to clone the default WordPress theme and start customizing it to make your WordPress site look more like you want it. This really came about because of my buddy Brandon. He recently got engaged. Congrats, Brandon. And so he put up a wedding website to kind of tell him and his fiancee's story and kind of post info about the wedding as it comes up. So it's the default theme right now, and he was asking me questions about how to style it out himself, and it's my day job. So decided a video would be the easiest way to do that, and I'm just going to put it up on YouTube so anyone can see. So step one is if you got a cPanel environment, it's really easy to go in the file manager to start this off. And so this is just the the root directory, and we go into the once we got our WordPress installed and all that, go into WordPress content and themes, and so 2011 is the default as now, and you just copy the whole thing and name it whatever you want. I'm going to delete this at the end of this probably, so it doesn't matter what I call it, but if you're going to do something specific, call it something specific. And so there we go. And once we're in it, I'm going to switch over to an actual FTP program because it's easier to edit files in. We go into the theme files, and so these are most of the files we're going to edit. It's got the style sheet in here and all the WordPress base files. And step one is actually to open the style.css. And these comments right here are what WordPress looks at to distinguish themes. So I actually usually delete like all of that stuff. I'll leave the author and put my name just because I'm vain like that, I guess. And then the name is really the only important thing. So demo theme, you save that, upload it back, and then we go back to we go to our WordPress backend and go to appearance and themes. And so here's the theme that's active, our current theme. Dismiss this. This was 2011, the original, and the 2010, the older one. And then just by changing that style sheet, CSS, those comments right there, it picks up we got a new theme available. About the little screenshot image, I like to build the thing out and then just take a screenshot of it, and you upload that as screenshot PNG, deleting the old one, and WordPress is smart enough to know what that means and replace that image right there. And so when you're ready to start working on the theme, all you do is activate, and it'll deactivate the one that's active now and flip it back over. And so then if I go back to the home page, all the content stays the same because it's all in the database, of course, and it goes right into what theme that is. And so the fun part is, I say fun, it's fun in a nerdy kind of way, is figuring out what all these different files do. And so it depends on how you have your stuff set in the back, what files are used to build pages. So for example, most of the pages use the header.php, and actually all of them do until you tell them not to. So that goes through, your head section, which is where you include style sheets, and the base style sheet is the file we just edited first, so you can do a lot of your CSS there, or you can create your own file and link it in that way, which that's linked in here, so you could create your own file. And like here, blog info, that's all part of the WordPress codex. So if you ever see a PHP call that you don't recognize or you're curious to what it does, just go to the WordPress codex, and if you searched blog info, function reference, so it comes right up, and then it tells you what it is, and then here you have your list of parameters. So we have style sheet URL, and so that's this, and it kind of gives you the example of what that renders as. And so if I wanted to link to my own style sheet, I would, create a new file here, call it whatever I want, and then change this from style sheet URL to style sheet directory, and then throw in / file name, whatever I call it, .css. So yeah, usually I leave a lot of this PHP and the default WordPress stuff there, just because it's actually a pretty decent theme what they give you right out of the box to work with. I changed some of these, like the get rid of the slider, and I'll put my own image or something. So your Chrome developer tools, or if you've got Firebug loaded on Firefox, I usually do Firefox when I'm working because it's just a tad bit better than the Chrome developer tools, but you can see what code is doing what. So H group is doing all that stuff, and so that's right here in the code. So if I want to delete that out, save, upload, and then a shift refresh, so we don't get any of the cache files, you see that all that code has disappeared. So that's kind of the whole pattern of workflow. You see what code's doing what, make changes, and if you're never sure what file is doing something, just delete stuff out or add stuff in and see if it shows up on the page. So let's look at like an index. So what this is calling is a get header, and so that's header.php, and then it'll kick into content, and then it'll get the sidebar and a footer if you have them. So footer is a PHP file, much the same. It does stuff at the bottom, and if I want to make sure I've got the right thing, put something, add something in, and then we refresh, and we'll go down to the bottom, and I can see that it pops in. So a lot of the changes you can do, or to get things looking different, are header and footer, and then in your style. So that way you can kind of keep the structure of the WordPress, which is kind of the hard part sometimes. So keep it looking the same, and then you can actually change layout of these things in the style sheet. And because it really depends on when you start getting into this, the index, the content is when you start getting all these files, depending on what type of page or post. There's different post types of how stuff starts showing up. And so like content page is going to be a normal page most likely, and kind of learning all of these is different. So content single is a single blog post by itself. So if you wanted to edit this page, it would be content single. Content page is a page, which you see they're very similar, so it's kind of confusing when you first get out and you don't know what files those are. Didn't realize you're making changes in one, but it's not changing all your pages, which is what's cool about the header footer portion thing. So you make those and it does make them all over the place. Content is also a file that possibly could be edited because it's like the base default thing. So I honestly don't know what all these files do, and I only edit a handful of them, and usually I make changes and figure out which one I want to edit and then figure out which one it is. And a lot of them do make sense of what they're called. So if author page is it's part of the default built-in WordPress, so it does this by author, and so author admin, so that's actually what's building this page, and it pulls in all the articles or all the posts by that one specific article. If we go into a post and you've got your tags and categories, I believe technology is a category I have, so it's category technology, and that's being built by the category page. So that's a basic rundown of themes for WordPress, and you can kind of go from there and have a ball. And it's not a big deal if you clone your stuff right and rename it, and then it's separate, and you could play around and you can mess things up, and you can go back to the original or a saved copy version that you have. As simple as that. So you don't have to worry about like messing things up and never being able to get back. You can explore and experiment with stuff. So yeah, that's themes in a nutshell.